All the reasons why you should not trade.
That 90% of new traders lose 90% of their starting capital within 90 days of their first trade. And this is why we're not in the 90%. Most people in STARTrading are actually doing really well because they're following the strategy, they're learning it, they're putting the risk parameters into space, and they've got the support of the community around them.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. We talk about it all the time, but there's a lot of different ways that mindset impacts the way that you trade. And the two major ones are fear and greed. Almost forgot them. You've just got a misinterpretation and misunderstanding about what trading actually is and how to do it in a safe way.
And I love that about STARTrading.
Hello everybody and welcome to the STARTrading podcast with me, Lewis.
And me, Sophie.
And today we're going to be talking about all the reasons why you should not trade.
Yes. Very exciting.
Very exciting indeed.
Lewis, have you heard of the 90% rule in trading?
I actually haven't, no.
Shall I tell you from my phone?
Yes, please.
So the rule of 90 is that 90% of new traders lose 90% of their starting capital within 90 days of their first trade, which I feel is quite a clickbaity thing to say.
I think it's very clickbaity.
Is it true?
I think it probably is true.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
90% of your money lost?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is it 90% of people lose 90% of their money?
Yeah.
So I think that probably is true. Wow. Yeah. Now, when I say it's probably true, I'm saying that it's true for the majority of people, not for people who are following the STARTrading method.
Well, we couldn't, could we?
No, we couldn't.
We literally couldn't.
No, it's mathematically impossible. So, which is why we can give that guarantee to our mentees that you're never going to blow your entire account if you follow our system. So I think it probably is true because most people will their first approach rather to trading will be very much from a gambling perspective, thinking, oh, if I just put money in this thing, then I can make money on this thing. And that's not necessarily how it works. There's a lot of people who won't necessarily do the learning that's required to make sure they don't fall into that statistic. But I also think it is a little bit clickbaity because every single broker legally has to put those statistics on their website. And it tends to range from about 65 to 80% depending on, I don't know, time of year or whatever. So it's not always that many people that are losing money from their trading, but there is also some very specific reasons why.
So do they take the data from all of their traders?
Yeah.
And you think most of them are people kind of going on YouTube and having a go?
Yeah, so there was a massive piece of research done by one of the largest brokers globally into that figure in terms of why is it that so many people are, as retail traders, so retail traders being people like you and me, we're trading our own capital. Why does so many of them fall into this statistic, maybe not 90%, but of people who are losing money rather than making money? And it was a really interesting study because what it kind of revealed was that the majority of people were actually having more winning trades than losing trades. So then the logical question is, well, if more people are having winning trades than losing trades, how then are the majority of traders losing money? Yeah. Doesn't make sense. And when they dug into it a bit deeper, it was because the majority of those traders weren't following very basic risk to reward ratios, risk management systems, which is even just the foundations of what we teach on a Forex in 5 event. So even that would keep people safer compared to just going it alone. And it's currently only £30 to do it. Shameless plug.
There we go. So I'm going to tell you what the main 7 reasons are why people lose money and are not successful traders, and we can just go through them. So number 1, human emotions, aka trading psychology.
Yeah, 100%. And it's why it's one of the 4 or 5 elements of the STARTrading method is you do have to master your emotions and master your mindset. And we talk about it all the time, but there's a lot of different ways that mindset impacts the way that you trade. And the two major ones are fear and greed. Almost forgot them. So fear and greed are the two major emotions, but the way they work out are different with each person. They're different with each trading personality type, which is why at the start of all of our mentorships, we will always look at what that particular individual's trader personality type is and how they may end up trading based off that personality type.
I feel like my first 6 months of trading, my emotions were all over the place, like really excited and then terrified to start live trading and then really excited to win and then really sad to lose and then worried about getting back into it and then being okay again. And then as I got more experienced and more confident, got more wins, and now I'm into the swing of it. Yeah. I think I've been doing it over a year now.
Yeah.
Now I'm just chill about it.
Yeah.
But you have been doing it over 10 years. So how has your emotional roller coaster been? Do you still get fear, greed, excitement, scared, or are you?
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
It's for me. It's you're never going to become unemotional. I think also I am by nature quite an emotional person, so I have to work hard to dial down that emotion when it comes to my trading. But I do have a 10-year track record of successful trading, which helps. Of course, it does. I think I get more emotional now on behalf of my mentees and wanting our strategies to do well, even though I know they have and we've tested them and all of that sort of thing. So I'm more emotional on behalf of other people now than I am necessarily about my own trading.
Yeah.
But I also think it's a really interesting dynamic, and why a lot of people start the journey maybe and stop the journey is they hit a bit of an emotional moment, and they allow that moment to kind of derail them, knock their confidence, knock their consistency, and then they kind of fall off the wagon, I suppose, and it's harder to get back on the wagon sometimes. So yeah, I think there's loads of different spots within your journey that emotional roller coaster can get tricky, and that's where I think generally having the support of a community who are going through the same thing is really, really helpful.
Yeah, I think if you didn't have that community, people might go through that emotional mindset and just really back off and leave. But you've still got people saying, yep, I'm doing well. Yep, the next person has grasped the next strategy. Yep, they're still celebrating. You kind of get back into it like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it.
Exactly.
And I feel like lots of things in life are just about persevering. Like, just keep going. Just put one foot in front of the other. So it's a bit about that. We could talk about emotions all day.
I know, we really could, yeah.
So the second one is lack of discipline, which we definitely have covered before. And it's all about consistency and going back and doing it every day, isn't it? Yeah,
and I think one thing we maybe haven't said before, but maybe have, but I'll say it again because it's worth saying, is a lot of times people lack discipline because they lack clarity over A, what to do, and B, the purpose. So if you can really hunker down and get clear on those two things, I think discipline will become easier.
Yeah.
So again, using the gym analogy, if I'm super clear on what I'm wanting to achieve and why I'm wanting to achieve it, and what to do when I get there. When I first started the gym, I didn't know what I was doing. I was embarrassed to go. I didn't know how to use the machines. People would look at me and laugh. That doesn't happen in STARTrading. But it put a very negative spin on the process. So I found it very hard to continue when I first began at the gym. Now I've got a bit of a better idea. So that kind of part is taken out of it. So yeah, I think getting clarity on those two things really helps the discipline. But if you are going to lack discipline and you're going to maybe turn up to your charts once a month, that's not really good enough in any area of your life. If you only turn up to your job once a month, you're probably going to get fired.
Or the gym.
Or the gym,
So the next one is lack of money.
Oh, I love this one because it's just wrong.
Yeah.
So lack of money is not a reason to not trade or learn how to trade. Okay, yes, it may limit your access to certain levels of education and certain levels of mentorship, but there's still ways that you can start. That's why within STARTrading we can help people who've got pretty much no budget and people who are multimillionaires, and we that's what we do. So I think that when it comes to your actual trading, you can start with £350, £250. We tend to recommend about 500. So it's a really low barrier to entry financially. It's just about learning the skill set.
Yeah. And it can grow so quickly with compounding and yeah, definitely do it. The next one is unrealistic expectations.
Yeah. I think this falls into the get rich quick mindset, doesn't it? Like people sometimes, because of the rubbish that is put out there online by some people, think that they're going to be able to turn £100 into £1 million in a week. It's just lunacy, absolute lunacy. And what we are actually doing is we're teaching strategic processes and investment processes that will lead, if you master them and you get the results that we would hope you get, that will lead to great wealth and financial success. It just isn't going to happen overnight.
We all need to be a bit more patient, don't we?
Yeah.
Like we're really, I think social media and having everything at a click of our finger has made people quite impatient. Like, I want this, I want it now. And actually, years go by quite quickly, like they do. So if you just put that consistent action in daily and you just wait, then it can really, you know, the compound effect that we've talked about before is like a snowball.
Yeah.
So yeah, be patient.
Be patient.
And it will come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even that, the reality is we can get people trading live within 2 months.
Yeah.
Within 6 months, we can have them in a very strong
Yeah.
position with their trading. That's not a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually pretty quick. And that's because of the way that we deliver our training and our process and make it super clear for people.
Yeah, it is a very good process.
Thank you.
The next one is lack of strategy. So are there actual people out there who just have a go at trading without a strategy?
Yeah, guess what? They're in the 90%.
Yeah.
So I just think, yeah, it's just madness.
That's
you need
mad.
a strategy.
Yeah.
You really do. And if you don't have a strategy, then you are falling into the category of a gambler. You're just going and picking on a horse and hoping for the best. Like, that is gambling. You need to actually have a process, a system, a strategy in place if you're going to become a successful trader.
Yes.
And if you don't have a strategy, you might be lucky on the first couple of trades, and then you're going to find yourself in a tricky situation.
Scary. You could just lose so much, couldn't you? I'm just imagining.
If you're gambling, yeah. If you're following the STARTrading method, no.
Yeah, and the next one is lack of risk management.
Yeah, that's...
Which, again, I can't believe people not doing this.
But people don't know.
No.
That's the sad reality. And I mean, we talked about it in season 1 about correct risk parameters. So if this is the first podcast you're watching, pop back through them. There's loads of info. So yeah, people just don't know, and they think trading is high risk. And when I say to people, it's like, okay, you think it's high risk, fair enough, that's your current perception. So if I told you had £100 and on your trade you're only maximum going to lose £1, would you say that's high risk or low risk? They always say low risk. So like, you've just got a misinterpretation or misunderstanding about what trading actually is and how to do it in a safe way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I love that about STARTrading. It's like you're protecting us all.
Yeah.
You've got this protective layer around the community.
Mother hen.
Yeah. And the last one is barrier of entry / trading is hard.
Is it hard? I don't think it's hard. I think the hard part of trading, like we've talked about before, is actually emotional management. The technical side of it is simple. It just it's just new knowledge. So when an adult brain comes to new knowledge, it can feel hard to begin with. But within 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you're going to have absorbed enough of that knowledge that it's going to start to feel a lot easier for you. And we tend to see that. So people start off feeling a little bit overwhelmed, but they can see the vision of what they want to create. Within 4 to 5 weeks, they tend to feel a lot calmer about the process. They can see how they're going to make it work for them. They're starting to understand the bits and pieces they need to understand. And that's why I always talk about it being like a big jigsaw. You've just got all these new pieces that don't make sense to you. But once you put them in the right places, you can see the vision really clearly. You can see how it all works.
And the learning process is amazing because you can see people in the community saying like, is this right? I'm not sure about this. And then a few weeks or months later, they're answering the question saying, yeah, that looks good. I'll maybe tweak it. I would have done it that way.
Exactly.
So it is really good. And also the range of ages in the community surprised me.
Yeah.
Like you've literally got people who are 17, 18 coming in with the support of their parents up to, how old are your oldest people?
I'm not going to name names.
Yeah.
But definitely in their 70s.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyone can learn it, really. Yeah.
That's what I love about it. Multi-generational.
Yeah.
And I think part of the process that we go on with students is about having them take ownership of their own knowledge. We don't own the knowledge. I know we technically do because we're teaching them that knowledge, but once it's theirs, they own it. And that's what we really love. And that's why we see people answering questions after a few weeks to newer people coming in. And that enables them and empowers them to take ownership of their own knowledge and skill set as well.
Love it. So there we are.
Yeah.
And this is why we're not in the 90%.
Yeah.
Most people in STARTrading are actually doing really, really well because they're following the strategy, they're learning it, they're putting the risk parameters into space, and they've got the support of the community around them.
Exactly. Winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah.
Speaking of dinner, I think it's time for a snack.
Oh, yes.
Did you forget that time?
No.
I think we need to do a little bit of magic.
Okay, let's do the magic.
Right. 3, 2, 1. Ta-da.
Ooh.
There we go.
What's in the cloche?
What's in the caloche? So.
Go on.
Ooh.
Cinnamon bun.
This was actually one that I bought.
Yeah? For me?
Yeah.
Thanks.
But I'm wondering if you've got one under yours that I also bought.
How would you know that?
Time will tell.
Okay, we've got a cinnamon bun. Should we open the second one? Or should we try the first one?
I want to see they're both from me.
Okay, ready?
Yep, they're both from me. But do you know what? I kind of bought the cinnamon bun for me. 'cause I love
Okay.
him.
Okay, good. We've got a cinnamon bun and a Tacker Snack ham and cheese wrap kit with tomato ketchup. Mmm.
Enjoy.
Thanks.
Did you never used to like have them as a kid?
Yeah.
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 Was that memory lane?
Okay, I'm going to assemble one. I mean,
I feel like that's lacking a
yeah,
lot.
it's a little bit disappointing.
Oh,
there's
it's
a
hidden
little bit
underneath.
of cheese. How do you eat that?
I feel like you
Okay,
can only
so
really
there's
make
a
one out
wrap.
of there.
Here's the ham. This is literally like my kids' packed lunch.
I'm just checking the ingredients.
There's a
Cheese straw.
cheese straw. You just put the whole thing in.
Yeah. Oh god, this is melting.
And there's ketchup. I don't have to put the ketchup in,
You
do
don't
I?
have to, no.
That-
It's completely up to you.
Okay.
I think it
Oh,
might
you've
be a
got a
little
nice
bit dry.
cinnamon bun. Do you want a bite?
I will do after you. You bite one end, I'll bite the other bit. We're not going to do Lady and the Tramp. How was that?
I feel like it's nutritionally
Devoid?
really bad,
Yeah.
but it tastes like a pretty standard ham and cheese wrap.
It's pretty vile, isn't it, really? That is cardboard.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to eat the rest of that.
Okay.
Do you want to rip a piece
That
of
was
bun?
a bit disappointing.
Oh, yeah. Scores on the doors.
Surprise. 8, not in a good way. Taste 1.
Surprise for me is 0 because I bought both of them.
Yeah.
Taste of the ham snack is like 1.
Yeah. Can you try the bun?
Yeah. Shall I rip it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's very moist.
You can't go wrong with the cinnamon bun,
You can't
can
go
you?
wrong with a cinnamon bun.
How do you eat it? Do you always peel from the outside and go round?
No, I normally just go straight
Do you
in,
go straight in?
like a burger. But yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
That's nice. Surprise.
For me, 0.
I go 7.
Okay, yeah.
I go taste 7.
Taste is 7 as well, yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this episode of the Star Trading Podcast.
Bye.